discussing the issues that make Phoenix a world-class city. Now, on the issues.
Welcome to On the Issues. I'm Phoenix City Councilwoman Thelda Williams. Today's show will highlight a new group of dedicated people who are working to save Pioneer Village and what services the city provides to victims of domestic violence. Joining me are Tony Kotowski and Larry Evans, founders of the Pioneer Village Development Group. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for all the efforts that you have already begun. Tony, I'll let you start off and tell us what the group is and how you got formed and what's transpiring right at the moment.
Well, Thelda, what happened was that we as a group of citizens wanted to go ahead and find out what was going on more in District 1 of Phoenix. And what was nice about it is that you made yourself available to us, that we could talk to you, and you told us everything going on in the area. And it seemed like it all focused around Pioneer Village is what we were talking about. And it seemed like if we can get Pioneer Village on the right track and getting it to be an awareness program for it, that everybody would know about it and that we could move ahead and help with the development all around up there in the north part of Phoenix. What's happened is that through the elections and all that stuff, we overwhelmingly voted that Phoenix would go ahead and take over the property from the state so that the Pioneer Village could continue to be a part of our heritage. And so what we're trying to do now is to make, or actually inform the Mayor Gordon and all the council people of Phoenix to let them know that we as citizens, this is what we want. We want this to move ahead. This is our heritage, and the Pioneer Living Museum is something that we should all be proud of, and that this is something that people that are moving in from all over the country are saying, okay, I love Phoenix, I love the desert, the mountains, and the Grand Canyon, but here we have this heritage sitting there, and we have this history that everybody is not quite aware of. So we want to bring that awareness to everybody, and that's what the Pioneer Development Group's all about, is creating awareness and working hand in hand with the Pioneer Board to get this up and running.
I'm so pleased that you are involved and all of your group and the enthusiasm that you share. We are struggling because it is a mighty project and because of the estimated cost to refurbish it. But I think, and just from my perspective, the cost can be spread over many years, and what it brings to Arizona and it brings to the city of Phoenix is beyond value. Not only is it the historical perspective, the history of Arizona, which is lost throughout the state, and the fact that 35,000 kids a year go visit and learn about their heritage, but the potential it has to develop that entire corridor, to make that a really unique tourist attraction, business, the commercial operations there that can be tied into it, the potential it has as not only the historical, the cultural, but from the economic development perspective is immeasurable. And people, I don't think, who haven't been involved are aware of that potential. So I am delighted that you have the vision and the muscle and the energy to take this on. Larry, I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about what we're doing.
Well, first I love to acknowledge two statesmen that started this off, Barry Goldwater and Carl Hayden, which really had the vision way back. And now we're hearing the possibility this could be in jeopardy, and we jumped in as soon as we heard that we would possibly lose what is called a classroom without walls. It really does communicate not only fun to the people that come there, but look what it does for our kids. It shows them the history that their forefathers grew up with. And we're just so excited about the Pioneer. So we stepped in and hopefully would come up with some events that would enhance what is happening here. And the first one is an 1860 Pioneer Thanksgiving and Civil War reenactment. Now, if those that have not seen a Civil War reenactment, it is absolutely, I think, one of the most historical and entertaining things that I've seen lately. And we have that chance to do two things. One, come experience a Thanksgiving pioneer, what it was back in those 1800s, but also to see the Civil War reenactment. These people are very serious about their hobby. They're coming in there. We have about 9 companies that will come in there and do their illustration of what it was like during the Civil War. And so we're really excited about that. And if the people watching would love to come, we'd love to have them. We have a couple of sites they could go to, our Arizona pioneer.com, or the phone number, hopefully will be across the screen, is 623-465-1052. And to tell you a little bit about the cost is very inexpensive. It's only $15 to get in for adults, and then we have a reduced amount for seniors over 65, $10, and then kids under 5 are free. So it would be a great day to come out, and we'll have a ceremony between 10 and 1 o'clock, and dinner on the grounds there, cookout out back. And then the Civil War group will march through and take them back to a battle in the back. And then hopefully we'll have our docents showing what it was like in the 1800s there, and it's just going to be an exciting time. We're looking so much forward to not only getting people involved and showing this great historical preservation project that we have, but come out and have fun as well.
When is that going to be?
This is on November 22nd, and it will be from our ceremony between 10 and 1, and then between 1 and 2, you'll go out and see the docents out back where the Pioneer Village is, where we have 20-plus buildings that have been historically preserved, and then we will have the Civil War reenactment at 2.
I'm going to be there. Bring the grandkids.
Absolutely.
They're excited. My oldest grandson is already. He's loves Pioneer Village. He's been there a couple times, and he thinks this sounds like a fun day, and so I'm very excited about it. Where's the funds going to go, the money you raise?
The money is going to go to not only help pay some of the bills that we have there at the Pioneer to help run this operation, but hopefully it'll go into the preservation of anything that needs to be spent to get the word out that, you know, we have to have this and we have to preserve this historical monument that is absolutely a classroom without walls.
Tony, what else do you have planned?
Well, we're working with this. We have a lot of people coming on board. It's been amazing of how many people that are excited about Pioneer Village, and everybody's saying, what can I do to help? And we're talking about people from all over the state are talking about this. So we're really getting a lot coming up. And we're going to be working, what we're doing is we're working towards our territorial days, which will be February 14th. And that is going to be our anniversary of statehood. Remember, 2012 is going to be our, centennial. Mm-hmm. And we want to be able to, we have 3 years to get everything already in place for the centennial. And we really are looking forward to that. And we can only say enough that my analogy of this is, how can, with Pioneer Village, how can a fish in the sea be thirsty? Well, Pioneer Village is a beautiful place. It's a gold nugget in the desert, and it's a little thirsty right now, and we need everybody's involvement and help. So we're just asking everybody to help to come out there and support Pioneer Village.
Can I throw in some of the fun things? You were talking about your grandkids coming, our kids coming. We're going to have cowboy games. And cowboy games is something, if you haven't experienced, is something that's set up especially there at the Pioneer that they can participate in. We're also going to have hay rides that go around there and take them through the facilities there. So there's going to be some fun events besides this, the docents showing what was like, but also some fun things that the kids can do that I think they will really enjoy.
Oh, it's going to be a fun time, no doubt about it. I'm sure the weatherman's going to take care of us, but it's very exciting. I want to encourage people to really get involved in this and support this effort. We have a slight problem because of the expense. I know there are members of the park boards that are very leery of supporting this, taking it further, but I know the council is committed to doing what the voters want. But your presence, your involvement make a huge difference, as well as all the students that are writing the letters. We have 400 schools that are writing letters to support Pioneer Village. I had to laugh. One said, yeah, I want to remember the Pioneer days clear back in the 1950s. But it just shows how much we need it. But thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll learn what the city is doing to fight back against an issue that affects many residents. Keep watching On the Issues.
Sure, my neighbors Jean and Louise, they may be superheroes with superpowers, but that doesn't make them so super at saving energy and money.
Honey?
I may not be able to harness the power of the elements, but I save significant cash and help the environment with appliances, electronics, and windows featuring the Energy Star label. So discover your own energy-saving superpowers. Go to ase.org/consumers.
Mom, Dad's making fondue again.
Welcome back to On the Issues. This month is known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but the City of Phoenix works year-round to provide comprehensive services and programs to victims of domestic violence. Here to share what they do are Joanne Del Colley with the Family Advocacy Center and Commander Jeff Hynes with the Phoenix Police Department. Thank you both for being here.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Joanne, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Tell us about the center.
The center is a wonderful place. It is a city facility, multidisciplinary, where we have the law enforcement, victim advocates, case manager, counselors, medical staff, and we all work together to provide services for victims of domestic and sexual violence who come to the center. Sometimes they come in on their own, sometimes they're referred by the police department, and we keep them away from emergency rooms, away from a traditional police station, so that they're able to come into a facility that's safe and get the services they need in addition to having an investigation
That's wonderful.
if they've been a victim. So safety is just so important for victims, and we provide that safe place for them to come to. And by doing that, I think we help them make decisions about the future.
That's so important.
Absolutely.
Absolutely so
Yes,
important.
and it's hard to make those decisions.
They're in a very tough situation in most times, and
Yes.
I've been involved in this for a very long time. I don't know if you're aware, I used to serve on the governor's
Yes, I
PD
am.
committee, and also when I worked for the sheriff in the jails, we started a domestic violence program there to help many of the women who were victims over many, many years. And as we know, it's generational. So the
Absolutely,
more we
that's
can
true.
work with today's victims, there'll be fewer victims in the future, and
That's the goal.
and fewer perpetrators, because
That's
it
the
is
goal.
sometimes a learned behavior. I know you have a wonderful new committee that's been working very hard, and I know, Commander, you've
do.
been involved. Could you tell us what you've been up to lately?
Well, in line with our support for the FAC, we're all in the same building. The Family Investigations Bureau, the police department, is enveloped around the FAC. In other words, they're the showcase, the centerpiece of what we do, providing victim services. And we do the enforcement side and the criminal investigation side of not only domestic violence, but in our center we also have crimes against children, sexual assault, internet crimes against children, missing persons, and a lot of horrific crimes. And then in line with that, the domestic violence component is a big part of what we do. And based on that, I've been in this assignment now just over a year, and we started looking at how we were doing business about a year ago. Under Joanne's leadership and the leadership of Cynthia Sealhammer, we started looking at how we're doing business and are we truly providing services to victims that we can be. First thing we did is look, how many cases are we taking a year? And based on that, we examined that we're taking consistently over about the last 10 years about 15,000 domestic violence cases, reports that are coming in. It's incredible. The numbers are overwhelming. With 21 to 22 detectives, you start doing the math on that, around 750 cases per detective. They're not going to give near the quality of service that we wanted to give. So again, working with Joanne and just their mentorship in an area that we don't have a lot of knowledge in. We have the enforcement side, but help us to find the victims that really need our help. As we started looking at the bad of the bad, and we drilled down into those 15,000, we found about 22% of those cases are what we'll call the bad of the bad, the beatings, the stalkings, the continuous victimization. And so what we've done is our committee is we've pulled together representation from the city prosecutor's office, the county attorney's office, anybody that would come and sit down with us, probation, parole, and started looking at how can we go after these 3,000 or so cases and make the predator the prey. Let's go get them. Let's track them down in 24 to 48 hours. Let's go find them, put them in jail. And that goal, that aspiration, I hope you see a little excitement in my voice, is we're going to find them. And within 24 to 48 hours working with patrol, we're going to knock on doors, we're going to their offices, we're going to their schools, we're going to their places of employment. We're going to find them. These suspects are going to jail as fast as we can because we're going to stop this cycle of violence as fast as we can. That is a major part of where we're trying to go right now. And just that's the tip of the iceberg. I don't want to carry on the entire conversation here, but I can. And you've got to control me. You have to control me.
But it's enthusiastic, so we love this, that it's enthusiasm from the police department. Absolutely, this 22%, they're the ones where we have victims and children. Let's never forget our children that are in these homes that are at the most risk of actually losing their life. And although it only seems to be sensational sometimes in the news, people die from domestic violence every year, every day in this country.
Yes.
And so we need to go after the most dangerous. We're also becoming wiser about domestic violence. There was a time that domestic violence was like a private matter, and now the pendulum has swung to it's a criminal matter. But now we need to look further into the actual dynamics of domestic violence and recognize that some of these are so dangerous, they're life-threatening, and others are still dangerous but less life-threatening. So in those 15,000 reports, if you don't take and really work out what are the priorities, everything gets treated the same. From somebody who kicked the dishwasher to somebody who held a knife to his wife's throat and raped her. So we need to take and look at those differences and then act accordingly. And everyone is a priority. It is not as though they're not priorities, but how the police department and victim services does an intervention in those cases, we need to make very much tailored to what we're dealing with rather than handling it in a generic way. And by doing that, I believe we'll do a better job for the victims and for prosecution, so we can really get strong prosecutions and strong consequences for those that really need that.
That's very important, and I think that's been a missing component too. And
Yes.
and so I'm delighted to hear that, because too often it was appear before the judge, don't do it again. They were released and went right home, beat the devil out of the wife, and started all over.
And what message are you sending if it takes your police department 21 to 30 days before we track down and find the suspect? An example of the victimization that just got my spirit up was looking at some of these 3,000 cases. An example, without giving names, a husband and wife, 2 children, 5 and 6. Having an argument, and the husband is obviously a repeat offender. He's continuous victimization of this family. Threatens the wife. She says something to him. He grabs her, drags her across the kitchen into the bedroom. The 2 children are screaming and crying. Drags her, throws her through a window, pulls her through the window in front of the children, and leaves her and goes to a local bar. We get there and we find this victim, just horrendous cuts, lacerations. The physical stuff is easy to fix, well, you think, but the mental anguish of those 2 children and this victim is something that's a lifetime, and that's what we're trying to get in the system to change, that we focus and find those perpetrators that do this. And I'll say this word again, make the predator the prey. That should excite a precinct officer, a detective. When they see that case, how can we get that guy in jail? How can we end this cycle of violence? And that goal is what we're trying to achieve right now. And we believe that we've got in place to do that. Second component of the program is geographic deployment. We're going to put our detectives back out into the precincts with the patrol officers. With only 22 detectives, even getting it down to those 3,000 core cases, is we still need some help to say, go to a patrol squad, here's 2 people, go find them today. I'm telling you, just leaving a patrol precinct, you bring somebody's face in and show me what they just did, that squad is going to find them today. And that's what we're trying to instill. And so our detectives are going to be geographically deployed out to the precincts, not full-time, but they'll be out in those precincts 1, 2, 3, 4 days a week, whatever it takes, to make sure that we put those 3,000 bad guys in jail every year.
One of the things we do know, and from the case that the commander just brought up, is that if we can reach a victim sooner rather than later, we have a much better chance of planting that seed of leaving that dangerous situation.
Absolutely.
Because in this particular situation, there was a lag, and by the time the detectives and the advocates got to this woman, she had made a decision to stay with him, that she did not want to continue in the system. And I truly believe that we're learning how to do things better by knowing the sooner we intervene, the sooner we give resources, the better chance there is for a victim to move out of this, and the better chance there is that the perpetrator will be held accountable in the criminal system. So together we can do a better job for victims and children and for the perpetrators that need to be held accountable.
And this isn't a new model that we're creating. Past performance indication of future performance. The lieutenant that we have on board with us, his name is Robbie Bates. Say it openly, proudly, clearly. Lieutenant Robbie Bates. Robbie, if anybody has driven down Van Buren in the last year or 2 years, has seen the change on Van Buren, I'll tell you who that's responsible for. That's responsible by Lieutenant Robbie Bates and 2 detectives, Matt Walker and Bob Rice. They figured out how to do it, and using the Violence Impact Project model, of bringing all these partners to the table, asking their input, but here's the key, listening to their input.
Very important.
Seeking out that mentorship of others that know more than us about a topic. I'll tell you bluntly, Joanne is my mentor in this area of domestic violence. I go to her and ask, because I don't know. But these experts know where the answers are, and so we're asking them. Robbie has figured out what he did on Van Buren. That's why he was brought to this bureau, to follow the same format that he did on Van Buren into the domestic violence arena. And both of us right now are very proud of him, because he's really doing a fantastic job.
You know, we're quickly running out of time. So I'm hoping
that seems to be a case with us.
Yeah, I know, isn't that amazing? I'd really like to have both of you come back on maybe another show and really talk about how you help the victims. And it's not always the woman. There are
No,
male
absolutely not. And I want to say
as
that
well.
loud and clear. We have helped many male victims.
Right.
Women can be perpetrators.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
And the children are the primary focus of this violence, that they're impacted for the rest of their lives on what they see. Just what we just described.
Yeah, and I'd like to have you then, well,
Absolutely.
next time we'll talk about how you actually help them, how you get involved, and how you do interventions with the children that are meaningful, that will break that cycle. But I want to take this last few minutes, and I think you have a fundraiser coming up.
We have our annual charity fundraiser on November 19th at the Phoenix Art Museum at 6 p.m. And it is in support of our trust fund that we used for charity. And through those funds that are raised, we're able to do all kinds of things for victims. We can get them new housing, transportation out of town to be safe, food, sometimes they need clothing or medical care, changing locks on doors. There's no amount. Sometimes we pay deposits on electric bills. So the charity event's very important. It is a partnership with the ASU School of Design. It is on our website, www.phoenix.gov, and go to the FAC website to charity. And we have a fabulous auction of these chairs that students make, and it's a wonderful, it's a really fun night. It's not just a fundraiser, but it's a fun night.
And say again, it's
November 19th, and the tickets are $125 each. And you can call the number to the Advocacy Center that we have on the screen today, and we can give you a ticket or information, and we'd love to have everybody in the community come.
Great. And thank you both very much for coming.
You're very welcome.
Councilwoman.
What you do is so important to our community, and I applaud not only your efforts, but you're willing to think outside the box and go the extra step.
The predator's going to be the prey.
I love
Councilwoman.
it. Love
Thank
it.
you.
That's all the time we have for this month's On the Issues. If you have questions or comments about the show, call my office at 602-262-7444 or visit us on the web at phoenix.gov/District 1. I'm Phoenix City Councilwoman Felder Williams, and we'll see you next time on The Issues.